Hello, I'm Toy Cat, and there are now less than 24 hours to go until Minecraft 1.18 releases on all Minecraft platforms. This is really exciting news, and of course there are new caves and new cliff features that you can get your hands on. However, whenever Minecraft changes permanently, there are some things from the previous update that will no longer be possible, and some of these things are things you're going to want to do. Whether that's getting axolotls in a much easier way, or whether that's finding blocks that will not be possible after this update, I feel like you need to know about these things, and so I'm making this Let's Play as a PSA towards things you won't be able to do starting from tomorrow. And if you're watching this more than 24 hours after it came out, then here are some things you should have done yesterday. So with that said, let's go straight into the very first of these. Unless you're watching this and it's already been more than 24 hours since the video came out, in which case this is a guide to things you should have done sometime before 1.18 came out, because these are going to be significantly harder, or at least different, after the update, and in some cases physically impossible, starting with the first example. So 1.17 brought over 60 brand new blocks to Minecraft, and 1.18 brings 0. However, that's a tiny bit misleading, because some of the blocks available in 1.17 won't be available outside of Creative in 1.18. Namely, finding Deep Slate Copper and Deep Slate Emerald is going to be technically possible, but so very, very tricky that realistically, you kind of might as well not bother. And the other thing is Deep Slate Coal, this ore right here, will not be findable in the wild. I'm sure in actual reality, finding Deep Slate Coal will be possible because of some bug or because of some weird generation. Let's be honest, Minecraft has bugs all the time. However, they do not intend to have Deep Slate Coal generate in 1.18, and the way you can tell that is looking at this map of the ore generation, where as you can see, coal will stop just before Deep Slate generates. So finding this block is going to be so impossible, actually impossible, and finding these blocks is going to be so close that you're never going to realistically see them. And so if you want to get these free blocks, find them now. Right now, they're just as common as every other version of the same ore, except you have to find them in Deep Slate, of course, whereas after 1.18, Deep Slate will generate in all the blocks below Y0, kind of like where Bedrock would be right now, and so finding blocks that don't generate below Y0 encased in Deep Slate is going to be impossible. Funnily enough, this means the exact opposite is true for some blocks. So if you like diamond ore, and by that I do funnily enough mean the block and not the diamonds that come from it, if you like this block and you want to get your hands on some, in survival it's going to become significantly harder tomorrow, and the same is also true for redstone ore, which honestly I do like redstone ore. It has that fun little lighting effect. What's not to love here? If you want to get your hands on both of these blocks, you need to make sure that you do it now. Why is that true? Because if you look at that same ore map, as you can see, redstone and diamonds generate only super low down in your world. It's also true for gold, but that also generates mesas, so you're fine. But both of these blocks can only be found in the Deep Slate layers and then slightly above them, meaning finding non-Deep Slate diamonds and non-Deep Slate redstone is going to be significantly rarer after this update than before. Of course, rather than going out and mining a ton of this in the next 24 hours, the other thing you can do is you can generate some chunks, and right now, below me, there's probably some diamonds I've just never found. We could test that sometime, but like, there are diamonds I haven't found in the chunks below me that of course won't be Deep Slate. However, if you wait until after this update, you will no longer be able to find diamond and redstone ore that aren't covered in Deep Slate in such high quantities. The same is also true for lapis, but in a slightly less true way, kind of true for gold. And iron is the one block where it's roughly as common to find it now in Deep Slate or out of Deep Slate as it will be afterwards. So do whatever you want with iron, but all of the other blocks, just bear in mind, if you want the ore blocks themselves, then they become significantly rarer, and there is an ore block you cannot obtain after this update. It's huge, it's important. Speaking of huge and important, do you know what everyone's favorite mob is? It was a really big deal when they added it to the game. That's right, it's the glow squid. I love it so much. Get this right, get this, it's a squid and it glows. Whoa! I wish we could vote for more glowing versions of mobs instead of useful changes to the game. Anyway, so as you can see, this glow squid right now is in an ocean. It's actually below a layer of ice, so, you know, kind of concerning, but don't worry, they can breathe underwater. If you want to get your hands on glow squid, and actually the one important thing they do have, their glow squid ink, then just bear in mind that they're going to be made a little bit rarer from tomorrow. Why is that? In the Caves and Cliffs updates, glow squids will only spawn in caves. They're actually only meant to spawn in caves right now, but there was a bug where they could spawn anywhere, and they just figured they wouldn't fix it until 1.18. And so you could argue that you're taking advantage of a bug this way, although again, if it's been in the game for 6 months, is it a bug or is it intentional? I'm not there to decide. I'm just here to tell you that if you want to get your hands on glow squids, it's a lot easier because you can use oceans, which are bigger, more plentiful, and have more breathing opportunities, Oh, look at that. There's a charged creeper chilling on the ice over there. Anyway, if you want to get your hands on a ton of this, make sure you do it now rather than later. Just like, honestly, the deep slate coal thing we're going to get back into later, because that is something that is very important to me. I'm going to make sure I take advantage of that. Whereas taking advantage of, you know, like glow squids, I mean... Is that even a phrase that anyone's said before just now? I hope not. Also, by the way, this same change applies to axolotls. I haven't found a single axolotl here, actually, funnily enough. But axolotls will only be able to spawn in caves. The way they monitor this, it's based on height levels, and it's based on proximity to stone, in case you're curious. So it should only spawn in certain cave biomes at certain times. Whatever, long story short, you just need to keep in mind that finding axolotls is going to be significantly harder, and so is finding glow squid. Okay, I just confirmed the way that axolotls work right now is it has to spawn below an opaque block. So obviously, having ice will not do it for you, but having stone might. So let's say, hypothetically, for some reason, you had a huge body of water that was below land. I actually don't know why I have this here. I think it's part of the ocean that I just walled off, actually. Anyway, so let's say you have a huge body of water that is below some opaque blocks, like right here. This is possible to spawn in axolotls, as well as glow squid, in huge quantities. After 1.18, they will only spawn in lush caves, and this makes some huge changes that are very, very interesting, but the biggest one to me is the fact that right now, if you have, you know, opaque blocks, like stone, in your end, and you have them below Y63, that's a key condition, then you will be able to find yourself some axolotls there, because axolotls don't have a dimension spawn condition right now. They technically don't after 1.18, but they will only spawn in one biome after that update. That's a huge change to make them less common, but also to make them, you know, like less fun. I mean, don't you want to have axolotls in your end? Well, make sure you do it now. Just a reminder, by the way, there's a 1 in 1200 chance that if you breed 2 axolotls together, you'll end up with a blue axolotl. That's one of those challenges I love to do someday. Today is not that day, though, because I'm currently focusing on fighting for my life. So yeah, axolotls are going to be made significantly rarer to spawn, and therefore if you want to do things with them, that also becomes significantly harder. Speaking of things that are significantly harder, you'll notice how there's a ton of mobs spawning, even quite close to torches. Look how close that spider spawned to my torch over here. This is something that won't be possible from tomorrow, and this is generally a good thing for the layman survival player. It's great. There are going to be fewer mobs spawning from tomorrow. They'll spawn in more intentional places, which is good. However, if you have any mob farms, or anything that relies on mobs spawning naturally, the conditions of this will change. So every single mob farm you have, you're going to want to just check on it, because right now people use torches everywhere for things without really realizing the damage they're doing. For instance, okay, if we go over here, I have a creeper farm, right? Why do I have a creeper farm? Because it's the only way to get gunpowder. Why haven't we worked out a more renewable way to get gunpowder besides farming what is one of Minecraft's cutest mobs? I don't know. You speak to the Minecraft developers. However, as you can see, my mob farm, if I place a torch, which I've deliberately used low power torches just for this reason. If I place the torch over here, let's say, we could do that, then that torch would provide enough light that mobs would not be able to spawn just underneath it. And so yeah, keeping an eye on where your torches are, or even just smarter, using these torches now for lighting. They're called soul torches. They're made from soul sand, soul soil as well as your sticks and your coal, is going to be a smart thing for technical players. If you're deliberately trying to stop mob spawning, like I did in my big Death Star cube, however, just use as many torches as you like, and that will still be just as effective. In fact, if you really want to, tomorrow you can remove some torches, because like, okay, right now these torches aren't necessarily next to each other, but if we want to grab some back, ooh, I've got 12 torches on me instead of 10. Look how handy that is. That's a positive change that you can make tomorrow. Don't make it today. And so, if you want to make a change today, just make sure your farms are working for tomorrow, if you intend to keep running them over the night. Speaking of things you can do overnight, besides staring at your chest of ores and thinking, yes, I have so many ores that otherwise cannot be obtained after this. That's great, have your little evil villain moment, collecting up your ores. However, after this update, besides the things below ground, which I do intend to do a nice little, pre-1.18 mining trip for the end of this video, you can also take advantage of generating terrain if you want the old generation instead of the new one. I actually would say most people don't want this, but things like water lakes will not exist anymore. This little farm that I have right here, and let's be honest, can you call it a farm when it's 7 bits of wheat and it's this this close to your sky height wheat farm that can't even render incorrectly. Maybe not, but this little farm, I only made it because there was a water lake here, and I figured, yeah, let's make that into a little bit of a farm. It's already got the water for me, so let's put down the, you know, the hose and do the things right. That is not going to be a feature after 1.18. Water lakes, honestly, are pretty dumb for most players, but if you have some nostalgia about them, if you want to generate some water lakes, do it now. If you like the old cliffs, where they only go up to like 100-something blocks, and they're really more like very steep hills than anything else, make sure you generate that terrain now. After 1.18, there's no option to go back. There are version switches, but like, I downloaded a version switcher this week and I couldn't get it to work, and you know, I'd like to believe I know a thing or two about Minecraft, but I can't make those work. And also, do you see those random blocks in the sky? I remember why I made those. Anyway, so as you can see looking around here, this is all terrain that won't be possible after 1.18. It's all gonna look very, very different, and that's gonna be sad. I mean, you're still going to have your big salmon, but you won't have your old-style rivers, your old-style mountains, your old-style water lakes. If for some reason you like water lakes, I would love to know what's wrong with you. Get you psychiatrically evaluated. However, now is your opportunity to have these generate in your world. Maybe load up a new world if for some reason that's your thing. And then you can like play it later, of course. But way more importantly than that, and let's be honest, important on some level, is the fact that the world type old will not be generatable from tomorrow. You'll still be able to play your old type worlds. They won't get new features, so they'll be emulating 1.17 forever. But if you want to generate these and you don't intend to use version switches, or you're on a platform where that's physically not possible, like most of them, so what you want to do instead is make an old world, make a few of them right now, and again, once you've made them, they can't be taken away from you, at least not in the foreseeable future. So make old worlds now. If for some reason you like that, I've had a lot of people, it's funny, I made a video of surviving 100 days in an old world, and at first the reaction was, that's pretty good, but most people weren't like fond of it. It's actually been doing pretty well in the in the time since. So it seems as though people clearly have a tiny bit of nostalgia for this world, or maybe the 100 days format on YouTube is just that powerful. Who knows for sure? But if you want to have these super limited old size worlds, or you think you might want to have them at any point in the future, generate some now. I even saw Harrison, one of my editors. He's been having some fun just loading up as many worlds as he can in the old world format, just so he's got them saved and stored forever. Because now this is my world. They can't take it away from me. And you know what? Let's have another world. This time, the world seed is going to be the number of subscribers I have at exactly the moment I'm recording this video. Wow, isn't that a lot or few, depending on your perspective? I mean, no one should say it's few. People only say it's few and they're like, oh, you know, I have more than 1,700,000 friends. And you know what? It's true you do. Would you like to become my friend? Have you considered subscribing? Pretty sure that's how you form a parasocial relationship these days. Anyway, so now we're going to load up another old world, and you can see they're entirely different to each other, and the terrain is always going to be different to what we have now, because of course, it's using a different world gen engine with a different set of rules and parameters, and they're weird worlds. They're strange experiences that you won't be able to experience after this update. So do it now. Even if you're not sure if you want to do it, just have a world loaded up and like in the world list, because you in 5 years from now, being very curious about your worlds, will appreciate finding one of these relics of Minecraft's history. And if you disagree with that, I disagree with you. Yeah, you consider that. I can disagree with people. Nothing's stopping me. So there's one last feature I want to show you while we go on a little mining trip, because this is a Let's Play. It's Let's Play Monday after all. Okay, so we're going to grab our shulker box, which we're going to be filling with all the goodies we're taking. We're going to grab our pickaxe, and we're going to go to some caves from 1.17. That's right, 1.17 caves. I mentioned this when the update first came out, but it's especially true to note now. They have some special properties that you're going to want to make sure you take advantage of. And so here is my survival actual real world. You know, I'm using my real time, not only to make this video, but to do this all in survival, to show you what I think you need to do before 1.18 comes out, or at least what I'm going to be doing, and I think is important for me. Yeah, there's a popular phrase in the world that's like, do as I say, not as I do, and it kind of refers to the fact that like, when giving advice to others, we're often very good about like trying to give perfect, exact advice about what you should really do. Whereas when we live our own lives, we're like imperfect human beings and we're gonna make a ton of mistakes and it's like, ooh, it's not so great. But sometimes I actually think looking at what people actually do for themselves is better than looking at what they say for other people to do. Because when you're talking about other people, you're talking about the ideal world, you know, a world where everything is perfect. But when we do things for ourselves, when we talk about things for what we're actually doing, we're taking into account the fact that, yeah, we live in a world of finite time, of finite money, and of, you know, only having a certain amount of willpower to force yourself to do things you don't want to, and, you know, all these sorts of things. And so I think actually coming along with me for a mining trip I want to do is something that's valuable, because I still, as of the recording of this video, had not found Deep Slate Diamond. I was intending to do it before 1.18, but like I mentioned, Deep Slate Diamond is significantly more common after this update. And so yeah, what I'm actually going to say is, like, you probably have loaded up enough chunks in 1.17 that you don't need to specifically load up new ones. It just makes it harder to get the new terrain. But what you should be doing is knowing where those chunks are, so you can take advantage of them now and later. And so one of the things I really specifically do want to do, if we can fly down this ravine gently and try not to die, is I want to get down to where the Deep Slate layer is now. Deep Slate, instead of generating below Y0, in 1.17 generates between 0 and 16. Why did they make that true? Just so you can get your hands on some Deep Slate. I think it's a fine compromise system. It's a bit weird because a lot of people are going to be confused about why Deep Slate changed, and, like, again, the average end user is probably confused about this in the end and about the changes to it, but whatever. It's a worthwhile concept, I'm sure. But I'm going to dig specifically towards where I came from. Did we find a mine shaft? Man, that's a cool coincidence. So yeah, the one last thing I have to say, besides what I'm going to be doing personally that I've already mentioned, is that if you want to find old style mine shafts, that is, they have no wood, oak wood blocks and, like, chains and stuff hanging to them, and also if you want to find dripstone biomes, because right now the dripstone biome will actually look impressive. It'll look like this after the update, whereas in 1.17 it looks like this. It's pretty depressing, honestly, seeing the current ones. But if you like depressing biomes, you can find them that way. Anyway, now we've gone through that, we're going to dig through all of these chunks of Deep Slate that we're finding in this mine shaft, which is a very handy way, by the way, to find Deep Slate chunks if they're super low down this way. Like, this is a very lucky find, in my opinion. But yeah, we're going to dig around all of these, trying to find some coal. Also, 3 torches. I am in a happy place today, huh? And yeah, my only goal here is to get my hands on as much Deep Slate coal as I humanly can. Which should be a fun goal. It should be nice and easy. If we get some Deep Slate copper, that's valuable too. We'll take it. I don't realistically know what I'm going to do with this Deep Slate copper, but I like the idea of maybe making a house from it or something later. Again, you can work out the ideas and the visions from all this dumb stuff later, but what's important for now is that we get the blocks. Oh look, it goes into another ravine. Man, this is a cool mine shaft, huh? I'm going to be very careful that I don't get knocked off or anything. But yeah, all we're doing is looking for all the Deep Slate blobs, and we're gonna, oh, there we go, perfect. That one, as you can see right there, it has some Deep Slate coal in, and so we're gonna be very careful that we can actually get that Deep Slate block, because it's going to be functionally impossible after this update, whereas right now, it's just as easy as any other block. How wonderfully easy. We can also get our hands on some non-Deep Slate coal, but there's not really any reason to. But, you know, not having a reason to do something has not stopped most people from doing most things that they do. And so why should it stop you? That is my motivational quote. Is that diamond over there? It is. Non-Deep Slate diamond too, by the way. Just a... Oh, wait, fine. Okay, wait. No, I think it was Deep Slate emerald I'm missing, because... Yeah, I'm pretty sure I must have some Deep Slate diamonds. That was very easy. Anyway, finding these non-Deep Slate diamonds is also going to have some value. But again, I have enough chunks loaded that I'm not really concerned about it on the long run. It's just one of those cool things for me to take advantage of. So load those in there, and also some of that, and some of that, and that. And then throw away, I don't know. How do I keep picking up wither skeleton skulls when I'm not intending to? It's a fun question. Anyway, so now we're going to keep on mining through these veins, seeing what we find. Oh, I've been through here. No, this was just the previous one from before. Oh, I was that close to diamonds and I didn't know it till just now. How fun. But yeah, these Let's Plays are often opportunities, usually, you know, besides when we've got like a big PSA that I like to make in Let's Play form, because this is my survival world that I care about. It's often an opportunity to, you know, like to have those longer form discussions. I know the Minecraft YouTube world's very quick and, you know, like grab your attention and then never let it go, because then you'll watch something else. But I like the idea of having like the longer form discussions about the important things. Like, you know, it is very interesting that everyone has this like different attitude towards their own standards and other people's, right? And I've been thinking a lot about why that is. Why is it, you know, like in reality, the way we actually work is something, but sometimes people like to pretend like, no, we're all perfect all of the time, right? All of us are. Oh, are you not perfect? That makes you a weird exception. And the way I would describe it is this like conflict between the two parts of like our humanity even. I'd say your brain, but I think everyone has this. Like, you have a part of you that that wants to do things because you know those are good things to do. Like, you know, wouldn't it be great if you went out to a soup kitchen? Wow, you would help people, you'd feel righteous about yourself, you'd get all the good things. And then there's a part of you that wants to do things because there's like some basic biological impulse telling you to, right? Like, oh, I am feeling hungry, I will eat some food. Or even worse than that, right? I'm not feeling hungry, but my body is telling me to eat food. And so even though I know this is a bad thing for me to do to myself, I'm gonna just do it anyway. And it's interesting that we all have this like duality nature of us. And I think that like, depending on how you're trying to perceive things, is your higher part of your brain suppressing your lower part? Or is your lower part of your brain suppressing your higher part? Reflects how you view things like, I don't know, laws, and religion and whatnot, because all of these structures we make, again, like purity in the form of like laws and religion, or like even just like having your own set of rules you follow, like, oh yeah, I'm following this set of guidelines where only, oh god, let's get out of here, shall we? I'll eat the golden apple afterwards, actually. That's probably a smart idea. You know, I don't need to eat the golden apple. I've got a tome of undying and all this stuff, but I just miss the thrill that comes with eating a golden apple, you know? There's just something about it that you don't get when you've been playing survival for too long. See, one of those base level enjoyments. I don't need to do it, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And I think that, like, I've been thinking a lot over this last week because, you know, there are all sorts of things that, more deep slate cult, perfect. Not possible after the update. There's all sorts of, you know, like, things that I really want to do for myself, but I struggle with doing. You know, a great example is the, you know, I love when I put out, like, a really, you know, like, I mentioned earlier, the Old World video have been doing pretty well. That makes me feel good. It's also, like, important for my career or whatever you can say. Like, you know, it means that people will forget about me slightly slower than they would otherwise because they found a video of mine they like. Like, putting out a video that, like, you know, like, does well in the YouTube algorithm is a good feeling. YouTube knows this. It's a thing like that. Did I really only take half a heart of damage from that zombie? That is an impressive show about how good armor is these days, huh? But yeah, I think that, you know, that's like that's what the higher part of me wants to achieve. Like, I know I'll feel good, and it'll be like a long-term kind of feel. Man, there is just so many mobs in this cave, huh? But then there is like the moment-to-moment part of me that's like, you know what you'd enjoy more? Eating a pizza. You know, I know that, like, you know, like, eating cheese is bad for your stomach because for some reason I've made myself lactose intolerant. But you know what? This moment where you've eaten the pizza, that'll be so good, won't it? And it's like, yeah, that would be good. That would be good. And, but, like, sometimes it works the other way around, too. Like, I'm just hungry, and I know I need to eat something. But the higher part, you know, like, the more logical thinking part of me is like, oh, I'd really like to try some food I haven't tried before. Like, there's so many, there's like, there's 1,000 something restaurants within delivery range of me, because I live in a very densely populated city. And I love trying new food and trying to find my favorite one. I'd love to find something new and exciting, you know, like something where it's like a story as well as something great. But then, you know, like the higher part of my brain is like struggling about it because I'm hungry, and you know, the lower part is just like, please, I just want to eat. That's a struggle I've been having this last week, at least. Like, that's a struggle I have all the time. Like, knowing that you want to, like, make it something that counts. Because once you can only eat a certain number of times a week, right? Like, 3 times a day. But even then, 3 meals a day is, like, one of those weird Western things that we just all believe that comes from basically nowhere. Like, you can have fewer than 3 meals a day. You basically can't go of, like, more than 3 big meals, though. So, like, if you're having a pizza, you can't have 3 of those in a day. That's your whole day of, like, major eating done, at least, right? Oh, that's a tragedy. That sucks. Oh, hello, spider. And so, yeah, my basic point here is that I feel like that's why we have so many, like, human systems that conflict with, like, the actual base nature of how people work. Like, because we want to believe we're better than we are. And some people don't want to believe that. Some people think that, like, we are what we are, let's accept it and move on. And some people are like, no. If we try really hard, we can always be this best version of ourselves. If we really believe in ourselves and, you know, if we accept that, if we say that mistakes aren't natural, but are instead, like, something we should be feeling bad about and trying to do less, then of course we can do all these wonderful things. Look at my deep slate coal collection, by the way. Going pretty well, huh? 20 blocks that are unobtainable after this, as well as some diamonds and so it's going good. It's going good. Anyway, so yeah, I think it was deep slate emerald that I was missing, by the way. That must be why I was mining that specific area before. Ooh, another chest. Let's hope the creeper doesn't have some bad things to say about me opening that. But yeah, so you know, same with right now, right? You know, like I know that the best thing to, like, something I really want to do, I think it'd be so cool to have a blue axolotl. But then I know that the, like, okay, all I have to do is put in some, you know, like, probably a few hours of effort, and then I can eventually breed enough axolotls that I'll hit that 1 in 1,200 chance. And having a blue axolotl would be so cool. But then instead I'm like, you know what I'd enjoy more? I'd enjoy doing some mining. I love mining in Minecraft. It is one of my favorite things. I was so excited for a cave update for so long, solely because it meant that, like, ooh, we'll have more reasons to mine. And right now, me looking for this deep slate coal is fulfilling that, like, base urge of just, I enjoy mining in Minecraft. For some reason I can't clarify or explain to people. It just is true. Also, I think I need to mine this with my yeah, I'm gonna mine this with my not silk touch pickaxe, just so I can get some cobbled deep slate, which is actually much more useful. Because, you know what, Minecraft is weird that way. But yeah, so let's make sure we have some inventory space. We are definitely running out again, so we'll clear some of this, and we'll make some for, you know, let's just take a cobbled deep slate block, split it in two, there we go, double as much storage space now. But it's funny because this conflict within people has, like, so many different ways you can interpret it depending on what the people are. Some people who are, like, who have super deep, dark urges all of the time, it's like, ooh, actually, maybe you should be best sticking to your best things. Whereas some people where it's like, they've only ever done things for other people because it fulfills their higher brain and they never do something for themselves. It's like, okay, maybe you should actually, every now and then, just enjoy something, you know? Like, that's advice we give. Because I think, yeah, it's, you know, ultimately, like everything, it's all about finding a balance that actually is good for yourself and the people around you. Or maybe that's just what people around you say because they know that that makes you better. Yeah, it's all a conspiracy, so we get more out of each other. Man, we are actually picking up a surprising number of diamonds. We've got glowberries too, not that we need those. You know what, this also another golden apple. This, like, the fact that I'm leaving a golden apple be is, you know, no, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it. It's not that important to take it, but we might as well anyway. One of my favorite examples of this that I've mentioned before, but I still find it to be funny, is like, you know, when you're listening to someone for their ideas, you're like, okay, this is interesting, but then you look at them, and for some reason, you're like, your view of them is somewhat tainted or, like, changed by having seen them physically. This is why, I don't know, so many people try to remain faceless because they don't want their personality to be imparted on some movement. But the best example of this is probably, there's this famous line in the, I want to say it's in the US Constitution, or it's in the Declaration of Independence, because that's a really, really long document, and no one's read it, and it's whatever. So, one of the famous phrases, though, it shows up in Hamilton as well, is like, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? It's a phrase by, I want to say, Thomas Jefferson, and he's like, yeah, we believe that those are the unalienable rights that humans have. If you cannot take away a person's right to life, obviously. I mean, that's not okay. Liberty, you know, freedom, which is funny given the early United States. But also, you know, that's what liberty is. You also can't take away their right to the pursuit of happiness. However, like, this is actually like a paraphrased thing from the famous English philosopher, I want to say he's English philosopher, John Locke, who, by the way, like, again, he has this great view that, like, it's actually life, liberty, and a state, like life, liberty, and property. Like, your inalienable rights are not to, you know, pursue happiness, because that's the most broad and open-ended goal you could ever have. It's the right to have property. No one can take away from you your right to that. Which, again, very, very, like, even though it's like a similar enough idea, that, like, yeah, you can't have happiness unless you can build something of your own, it's actually super, super different. It's an interesting thought by itself. But the reason I say that is because, like, okay, that's an interesting intellectual debate. Now look at John Locke. Look at how unwell he looks. Like, can you trust this man to work out the foundational human principles on which we should all be living? Nah, I don't reckon so. I reckon we should be taking into account people who, you know, like, I don't know, what's like an attractive looking, oh, you know, I feel like most historical people like, obviously this is because modern day standards of attractiveness have changed. You rarely look at one where you're like, yeah, that's an like, you know, like Henry VIII had 6 wives. I'm sure you're familiar. And like, it was a big deal that one of his wives was uglier than he thought they'd be. Catherine Parr, I want to say. It was one of the Catherines, I think. I could be wrong. Maybe it was his 4th wife. Anyway, so he was really upset because his wife was uglier than she displayed herself in her pictures. Which, first of all, is the most hilarious thing, right? That like the idea of catfishing sounds like it's a modern phenomenon, but like no, the King of England in the 1500s got catfished by a foreign royal that used, like, you know, very flattering paintings. But also, when you look at her, it's like, is that really so bad? And then you look at his wife that he's like, yeah, ooga ooga, she's the one for me. And, like, you see that, and it's like, oh, this is Catherine Parr, I want to say, was the hot one. And it's like, wait, really? And then you know what, long story short, what I'm trying to say here is that when you look at most people in history, they all basically look the same. My point's gone a little off the rails here. Are we just gonna rate historical figures by their attractiveness now? You better believe that's you know, like, honestly, why aren't we doing that? That sounds like way more fun than what we're doing right here, right? Why are we talking about ideas about what it means to be human and what your inalienable rights are? Because, let's be honest, we always say inalienable rights, but, like, we alienate people's rights all the time, and it's, like, vaguely justifiable. I won't make some grand COVID comment, because, of course, you can make lots of great points there if you... Ooh, more diamonds. How exciting. You can make a lot of fun points of that if you really want to. But let's say instead, like, yeah, if you commit a crime, then your rights get you know, alienated from you. You are not allowed to pursue happiness in prison, right? Because, you know, if the one thing that would make you happy would be getting free from prison, we don't go, well, we'll just let off the family of 5 you murdered. We go, no, sorry, you cannot pursue happiness in that way. Also, America has the death penalty alongside a whole host of other countries. You know, yeah, America, the country that had that whole, like, life is one of your inalienable rights, is like, yeah, but also we're going to alienate that right sometimes, which is funny to me. Anyway, speaking of things that are funny to me, should we do a stand-up routine? Is that where this is going? I think this is 2 deep slate blobs that merge together. Ooh, more deep slate coal. Heck yeah. Oh, let's maybe not have that flow in here. Actually, we could use it as do we have glass on us? No, we could have used it as a clever way to, like, get some light down here, because I ran out of torches. Anyway, I think it's interesting that, like, we all have these definitions where we draw the lines, and then some people say that's, like, you know, not okay, but, like, then we always have our own lines where we would draw it, like, you know, and as an example, this is one of those, like, how your political beliefs affect your believing. You might think it's crazy wrong that we would take away people's freedom for, like, pretty basic misdemeanors towards society, right? Like, oh, you make life slightly worse for people by, I don't know, breaking a window, and now we take away your right to, you know, enjoy society to its fullest by putting you in prison. But also, what we're going to do to a group of people who are probably, at least in the case of cities, like the most marginalized, is take away your rights to do things that you want to do until, you know, you follow the rules that everyone else is trying to. It's fascinating, the way you can look at modern events and see how people believe things. But the other thing that's fascinating, if you don't mind me saying so, internet. Ooh, we found another deep slate blob over here. Just gotta mine. Let's switch back out to Silk Touch, just so I can pick up the last of these coal ores. And let's pray we find another one. Deep slate redstone, more common after this update. I don't even want you. On the other hand, some deep slate. Okay, there's just nothing in here. But yeah, so yeah, long story short, I hope that I think that, like, we always have concepts of, like, things we want to do, and then when we're in a situation, again, we're using a different part of our brain, instead of saying, should any man have their right to the pursuit of happiness taken away from him? Oh, are you saying that he keyed my car? Well, I guess I've changed my mind, and of course, men should have that right taken away. You know, like, being the victim of something changes your perspective a tiny bit on it. You know what's crazy? I know, like, everyone, I've got a brother. He's a really big fan of insurance, like, in the sense of he takes more risks than the average person. I'm not going to talk about the insurance type that he has, but he takes more risk than the average person, and so insurance is this objectively great deal for him because he's going to be claiming on it more often than other people. That's his like assumption. Like he gets the peace of mind of knowing if someone steals my expensive piece of property, then you know, I'm insured, not my problem. And also he knows that he can take more risks than he otherwise would, knowing that the insurance covers it. He's again, I'm gonna try not to talk about it too much in case there are some legal ramifications. But yeah, anyway, recently he had his expensive piece of property stolen, and it was like, oh yeah, that sucks. First of all, like it sucked more than he was expecting it to, because like they stole it from his building, you know, like the one that he calls a home and has all his valuables in. They, you know, like if you're curious, if you live in like a decent apartment in a major city, they usually have like, at least in biking cities, there's like, oh wait, did I say what it was? I could be talking about anything. Anyway, so yeah, you have like a little storage place for your gardening tools, I should say. And yeah, so so he had his thing stolen. Well, it was actually in the most secure place. He'd been really reckless with it out in public, but then it did get stolen from a secure locker. Okay, somewhere down here. Yeah, he'd been really reckless with the gardening tools in public. He went to like the local garden office and he'd just leave it, obviously locked, but like in very open, plain sight places, despite being thousands of pounds worth of gardening equipment. And yeah, and then like, you know, the one time when he was least expecting it, like at his own home, that's when, damn it, I had diamonds and I've totally lost them. I hope I can find them. Oh no, that's bad. That's very bad. Yeah, so when he least expected it, in his own home, where he lives with his... Oh, Christ. This might be the end, actually. Okay, no, it's not. And that's when it was stolen. And then, like, he got paid out by his insurance, fortunately. Like, it was somewhat low hassle, but they only paid him the value of a brand new one, not the value of all the things he put on there. And so, in reality, he lost, you know, most of the... You know, let's say he modified his garden tools to be... less than legal, and, you know, to go faster than it's meant to and all that sort of stuff. Then he lost all the money he spent on that, and, like, the police just go, yeah, we're never gonna find them. We've got pictures of their faces, but, like, there's lots of faces in London, mate. And it's like, oh, yeah, now that's a different stance to take, right? Now you realize the whole thing has changed, because it's like, instead of thinking logically, like, okay, the odds of this happening again are very, very, very low. Probably, at least. I don't know what the odds of it happening were. It took a very long time for it to happen the first time. Probably wouldn't happen again. They're probably going to up their security. But the more mad part of you is like, I hate that someone else is out there with, you know, like, basically having stolen £1,000. They actually stole, like, you know, multiple thousand from his insurance and then 1,000 or something from him. And it's like, yeah, your view changes the moment you need it to. The moment your situations kind of go into that. Same with like, ooh, more deep slate diamonds. They're not rare, so I won't take them, is what I would love to say, but I don't think I will. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna get out there. There's obviously a lot of other things we could grab. We could do this endlessly, we could do this all day, and I would love to, but obviously, this is a Let's Play. I try to make sure these things are watchable in one big little scoop. And yeah, I know, I've just been thinking a lot about the low brain, high brain thing, of like, have I picked it? Oh no, okay. Of like, we have a way that we want to be, and then we have a way that we do be, and finding the balance on it, it's hard for a lot of people. It's hard for almost everyone. I would almost define that as one of the struggles that it is to be human. Is like, if you're not having lots of thoughts and struggles about like, well, do I want this or do I want to want this? You know, every time I force myself to eat like a salad, I'm like, actually, you know, I like a taste. You know, American salads have changed my view on the word salad. Like they're not even healthy. They're just tasty. It's great. It's like, what if there could be vaguely some vegetables next to your meat, and then we could call that a salad? Again, big fan of the concept. But like, you know, like eating like you know, like some healthy food that you know, or like taking a vitamin or something. Doing some things that like you don't want to do, you want to do. I definitely need to place some light in here somewhere. But you know what? I'm not going to. I'm just gonna get out of here and call it a day. Oh, I hate gravel so much. It ruins my life every time. And I just let it ruin my life. I just let it. Anyway, so yeah, there's this like eternal struggle. It's happening all the time. everywhere. And, you know, like, I know, like, even the most basic of things, like, I've been, like, a little socially isolated, like, in the sense of, like, I live a little far away from friends, and I feel like it's a struggle trying to be like, oh yeah, can you come make the journey here? But also it's a struggle for me to be like, I'm gonna always be the one making the journey back. Like, you know, to me, the perfect balance would be an equal amount, right? Like, you know, like that's 50-50 would be the balance of effort you would expect and dream of. But obviously that's like maybe unrealistic, maybe too much. But like, yeah, as a result, it's like, okay, so I want to go socialize. It's simple human need, like keeps you balanced in a way that you don't think about. But if I want to go do that, I have to overcome this like high-level psychological thing of like, should I be? Are we going the wrong way? I feel like we didn't pass a village on the way here. Huh? Maybe we did. Okay, you know what? Yeah, it's got to be this way. Yeah, it's got to be. I don't remember a witch hut either. I'm so lost. Okay, so I'm generating a whole ton of new terrain right now, which is a good sign. I mean, it's actually a terrible thing. Oh no, this is right here. We're good. We're fine. So yeah, I know. Here's another thing, right? I logically know that what I need to be doing is working out the stream ideas that attract the most new people in, and the video ideas that do the same. Like honestly, that 100-day video is going pretty well. The British person playing British Minecraft videos, like there are videos I'm seeing doing pretty well. It's like I need to emulate those. And some days I'm just like, but I would like to talk about how funny various historical figures look. I would like to rate Henry VIII's wives from 1 to 6 on attractiveness alone. Why can't we do that? By the way, real quick, okay, I'm gonna look at pictures of them. Okay, so he had 6 wives, right? 3 of them were called Catherine, which is a bit weird. Clearly had a thing for girls named Cat. You know, who am I to judge? You know, do you think he'd like me if I put on the right old-timey outfit like all these gals did? Anyway, so I think Catherine of Aragon's gonna be bottom of my tier list. As far as Henry VIII's wives go, she's not my personal thing. There's nothing about that that's screaming good. Then I'm gonna go Jane Seymour. She delivered a child, which is great. Like every guy has a, you know, like who doesn't like the idea of like someone helping? She helped him to achieve his dreams of having a child, but then she died afterwards, so that's kind of lame. Also, she does, you know, again, we're going purely based on looks, so we'll just say, you know what? It's clear that the best thing about her was her ability to deliver a child. Let's say that much. Then I'm going with Anna Cleves. You know, I said she wasn't that bad looking, but like, you know, compared to the Catherines of the world, she kind of is. Then I'm gonna go with Catherine Howard. Then I'm gonna go with Catherine Parr. Then Anne Boleyn. You know what? I can see why she was his side piece during the Catherine of Aragon years. So yeah, you know, like there's a part of me that's doing that. Are they both, like, I guess you could argue. You know, was ranking Henry VIII's wives by attractiveness low or high? I don't know for sure. But yeah, we always have these like conflicts that we're trying to resolve within ourselves and outside of ourselves. And it's hard. And then we don't do it right. And then we feel bad about not doing it right. And then it's a whole thing. Speaking of things that are whole things, this has been a whole episode of the Let's Play, which I hope you all enjoyed. I really dearly do. If you did, then there's a like button, and there's, I know, comments where you can tell me that we should look at more historical figures and rate them solely based on appearance as our next Let's Play episode. I mean, we can do it all day, every day. And yeah, the next Let's Play episode will be in the 1.18 update. There will be less access to all of the lovely things we just picked up today. But what matters is the friends that we made along the way. I mean, people say that, but, you know, does that matter? Are friends a low-level need or a high-level need? You tell me. But now there's a spare diamond. I want to make a shovel or something just to get rid of it. Anyway, yeah, by the way, I have a huge number of diamond ores just lying around. It's a problem. I think I'm going to keep them now. Build a little diamond ore house. Anyway, yeah, I hope you enjoyed whatever this was, because I'll see you all in whatever the next thing is. Good. Oh, wait. So here are some things you can see over the next week. I want to collect hundreds of spore blossoms, because they're not available in survival yet. Will be soon. I want to walk like 50,000 blocks in a copy of the Let's Play. I don't know if I want to use the regular Let's Play, because obviously we'll make the file size big. And I also want to do a little bit of speedrunning this week, of course. So stay tuned and you can see all of those things, unless you don't, in which case you won't. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you'll enjoy, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.